You're watching All 24 News World News Program, and up next are tonight's top stories. Algeria and Vietnam forged new strategic partnership, agreeing to work together on international issues and sign new deals. In southern Lebanon, 14 people were killed in a Zionist airstrike on Ain al-Hilwa camp. Hamas denied that the targeted site was a training camp for its members. In Sudan, the army says it's retaken key areas and is vowing to defeat the rapid support forces and counter foreign conspiracies. Full reports up next. Welcome back. First off in our news tonight, Algeria and Vietnam have elevated their relationship to a strategic partnership. The two nations adopted a declaration on Wednesday, creating a roadmap for deeper cooperation in economic, technical, and cultural fields. The announcement followed talks in Algiers between Algerian Prime Minister Sifir Ghrieb and Vietnamese Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh. Both sides agreed to capitalize on economic opportunities and implement the partnership according to a specific timetable. They've also pledged to strengthen their bilateral momentum and continue coordinating on international issues, upholding the same spirit of solidarity and friendship that has long defined their relationship. Algerian Prime Minister Sifir Ghrieb and Vietnamese Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh oversaw the signing of several agreements covering housing, education, trade, financial cooperation, and higher education. They also witnessed the declaration of intent between the two countries' trade ministries to move forward on studying and promoting negotiations for a preferential bilateral trade deal. Algerian Prime Minister Sifir Ghrieb says he is deeply satisfied with the results of the Vietnamese Prime Minister's visit, which established a new strategic partnership. Ghrieb called this a new chapter for both nations, reflecting his strong will to advance cooperation. He emphasized President Tebboun's commitment to building a renewed, strong and diversified partnership with Vietnam.
I would like at the outset, Mr. Prime Minister, to extend a warm welcome to you and to your accompanying delegation on your visit to Algeria, expressing my appreciation for the outcomes of this important visit, which culminated in the adoption of a declaration to establish a strategic partnership between Algeria and Vietnam that opens a new chapter in the path of strengthening the relations between our two countries and embodies the strong determination to advance bilateral cooperation in all fields. I assure you of the keenness of the President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune, to developing cooperation with the friendly Socialist Republic within a renewed approach to building a strong and diversified partnership that rises to the level of the historical relations between our two friendly peoples. The establishment of this strategic partnership is not merely a high-level framework of cooperation, but rather the culmination of a shared strategic vision to make full use of all available opportunities for collaboration across political, military, security, economic, technological, scientific, and cultural fields.
Ghrieb added that his talks with the Vietnamese Prime Minister offered a full review of the state of bilateral relations and led to practical measures aimed at strengthening cooperation between the two countries.
The discussions we held today have allowed for a comprehensive assessment of the current state of relations between our two countries and the adoption of a set of practical measures to strengthen bilateral cooperation, particularly through intensified political consultations and diplomatic coordination at all levels. We also agreed on enhancing cooperation in the fields of defense, security, and combating non-traditional threats, primarily trans-border crime. Additionally, they allow for the expansion of economic, trade and investment cooperation by supporting partnerships between economic institutions in both countries. The discussions also ensure the encouragement of economic operators to explore and take advantage of investment opportunities and establish profitable companies, particularly in the fields of hydrocarbons, renewable energy, agriculture, industry and infrastructure.
Riyab also said both sides agreed to maintain close coordination in regional and international forums to support efforts toward a more just and balanced global order.
It was also agreed to continue coordination at the international and regional levels to support efforts aimed at establishing a more just and balanced international system based on respect for the principles of the United Nations Charter, no interference in the internal affairs of states, and the promotion of South-South cooperation.
The Algerian Prime Minister also noted that Algeria's accession to the Treaty of Amity and Cooperation in Southeast Asia last July creates a new opportunity to build an integrated and constructive space for cooperation grounded in solidarity and mutual benefit.
واسمحوا لي السيد رئيس الوزراء.
Allow me, Mr. Prime Minister, to point out Algeria's accession to the Treaty of Friendship and Cooperation in Southeast Asia last July, which represents an opportunity to continue working with Vietnam and other ASEAN member states to build an integrated and constructive cooperation framework based on the values of solidarity and mutual benefit. In this regard, we are confident that Algeria's request to obtain the status of sectoral dialogue partner with ASEAN will receive Vietnam's support, as it is one of the founding members.
For his part, Vietnamese Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh said his country is keen to expand economic and trade cooperation with Algeria. Speaking on the sidelines of the signing of several cooperation agreements, he noted that the two countries have strong potential for deeper economic integration, adding that this makes it essential to strengthen the partnership. He reaffirmed his commitment to advancing bilateral cooperation.
Recognizing the immense potential of cooperation and strong integration between our two economies, we decided to make this area a cornerstone and driving force of our strategic partnership. From this perspective, both parties agreed to accelerate negotiations on an arms trade agreement with the aim of further opening our markets, enhancing trade promotion activities, and increasing trade in key products. In our cooperation, we also held in-depth discussions on strengthening collaboration in new sectors tailored to each country's strengths and development needs, such as aviation, the environment, science and technology, innovation, digital transformation, aviation, culture, education, people-to-people exchanges, and energy cooperation.
He added that Vietnam is working with Algeria in regional and international organizations to support ongoing reform efforts aimed at building a fairer and more effective system of global governance.
Regarding cooperation in multilateral forums, we exchanged views on many relevant regional and international issues. We reaffirmed our support for multilateralism and reiterated our commitment to close coordination within international and regional organizations to promoting reform and a more just and effective global governance system, and to enhancing the role of developing countries, also known as the Global South in international relations. We also emphasized the pivotal role of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations and the African Union, and agreed to contribute to strengthening cooperation between Asian and African countries, in addition to cooperation among Global South countries.
In a related news story, President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune, received Vietnamese Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh and his delegation on Wednesday, according to a presidency statement. presidency added that the Algerian and Vietnamese delegations held extensive talks in Al Mouradia Palace in Algiers, the capital. Following President Tebboun's reception of the Vietnamese delegation, Foreign Minister Lee Hoi Trung called the visit historic, highlighting the upgrade of ties to a strategic partnership and noting that Algeria and is Vietnam's top partner in Africa.
Most importantly, the outcome is the agreement between the two leaderships to elevate bilateral relations to a strategic partnership. Algeria serves as Vietnam's first strategic partner in Africa, reflecting the depth of the historical and traditional ties between the two countries. The elevation of relations to a new level also reflects positive developments in bilateral relations during critical times. This demonstrates the strong mutual interest of both countries in strengthening bilateral relations in ways that serve the interests of their peoples and contribute to peace and stability across the region.
The Vietnamese minister also praised the warm welcome received from President Tebboune, Prime Minister Grieb, and the Algerian people, calling the visit a new chapter in the long-standing ties between Vietnam and Algeria.
The Vietnamese Prime Minister and his high-level delegation highly appreciated the warm hospitality extended by President of the Republic, the Prime Minister, and the Algerian people. The Vietnamese Prime Minister, together with the Algerian leadership, conducted fruitful discussions. This important visit and the elevation of relations to a strategic partnership opened a new chapter, a new period, and a new phase in the traditional and historical ties between Vietnam and Algeria. It is confirmed that this visit will contribute to strengthening, deepening, and expanding relations between Vietnam and Algeria in ways that serve the interests of both peoples and promote peace and stability in both regions.
The Algerian Prime Minister, Sifi Grieb, said Algerian products can compete in the Vietnamese market thanks to their quality and pricing. Opening the Algerian-Vietnamese Economic Forum, he highlighted the event as a platform to boost trade and investment, with agreements and projects aimed at creating jobs and seizing new opportunities. Algerian and Vietnamese business leaders agreed that Algeria presents strong joint investment opportunities thanks to its many advantages for successful ventures.
إن اللقاءات الثنائية بين المؤسسات الجزائرية
Bilateral meetings between Algerian and Vietnamese companies will provide an opportunity to explore the major potentialities available in our country. I invite you to consider industrial partnerships based on joint production, not only to meet local needs, but also aimed at joint export.
الجزائر اليوم تفتح آفاقا واسعة.
Algeria today opens broad horizons to establish strategic and balanced partnerships approach based on technology transfer, industrial development, enhanced food security, and expanded trade.
We can see that in Algeria you have a very good investment environment, and you have very good policy, and now we have a very good, as the Prime Minister said, relationship between Vietnam and Algeria.
Moving on to a different news story, Algeria's Ministry of Hydrocarbons and Mines held a tripartite coordination meeting with the hydrocarbons, mining, public works, interior and transport sectors. The discussions focused on the extraction and processing of iron ore at the Gharj Bilat mine and on progress for the mining railway linking Bashar, Tindouf and Gharj Bilat, set to start operations in January. The ministry said the meeting ensured all measures are in place to begin iron ore exploitation in the first quarters of 2026, highlighting the mine and railway as key projects driving a historic shift in Algeria's development. Holcim Algeria's export manager, Hafidou Shish, expects cement and clinker exports to hit $200 million by year's end. In 2024, the company exported over 3.5 million tons, 40% of its cement, totaling more than $160 million.
السنة الماضية درنا 3 ملايين و300 ألف طن.
Last year, we produced 3 million and 3.3 million tons of clinker, of which 40% was finished cement, with a total value of approximately $165 million. The goal for this year is to reach 3.5 million tons, which would put us at around $200 million in exports. We have signed contracts with African countries and even with Libya as a new market. And we have started the export process. As I mentioned, we have been exporting for the past 5 years.
Algeria's prison system is seen as a leading model in the Arab and African regions, following international standards for prisoner treatment. At a joint symposium with the German Foundation for International Legal Cooperation, Director General Ishaib Zerb highlighted its role in sharing experiences and boosting Algerian-German cooperation in rehabilitation and training.
اليوم نشهد شراكة دولية.
Today, we witnessed an international partnership with the German Enterprise for International Law. In its 12th edition, we have extensive work ahead with this institution in the field of prison management and the exchange of expertise. This partnership has helped us become familiar with prison management practices in both countries and has enabled our staff in Algeria to gain world-class experience and competencies in this sector.
The German Foundation for International Legal Cooperation's Africa representative called the Algerian-German seminar a valuable platform for exchanging experiences in prison rehabilitation and reintegration.
Cooperation with the Algerian prison system and the international legal cooperation in Germany, which has existed for several years, is a very important theme that we discussed in the seminars and will discuss again tomorrow. We will continue the professionalization and modernization of prison systems. The Algerian-German seminar is an important and fruitful bilateral cooperation for exchanging expertise in the field of rehabilitation and reintegration within correctional institutions.
And as you followed in our tonight's headlines, an occupation airstrike has killed 14 people in southern Lebanon. The strike hit the Ain al-Hilwa refugee camp near Sidon Tuesday evening. Lebanese news agency reports say a drone targeted a vehicle near a mosque in the camp. The attack left 14 dead and dozens more wounded.
هي رسالة ترهيبية لأبناء شعبنا الفلسطيني.
It is a message of intimidation to our Palestinian people in the Palestinian camps, meant to produce political outcomes. It is one of many forms of pressure that our Palestinian people are being subjected to.
Hamas denied Israeli claims that the Sidon site targeted in the airstrike, which killed 14 people, was a training camp. The movement said the claims were meant to justify aggression and stir violence, noting the strike had an open sports field used by camp youth. Hamas emphasized it has no military sites in Lebanon's Palestine refugee camps. UNIFIL said it will submit a report to the UN Security Council on Tuesday detailing progress on Resolution 1701, including all ceasefire violations. Spokesperson Andrea Teneri warned the Zionist occupation against attacks on peacekeepers, noting the construction of a new concrete wall beyond the Blue Line and recording 7,300 occupation airspace violations since the ceasefire. "25 Palestinians were killed and dozens more wounded in heavy airstrikes across the Gaza Strip since Wednesday morning. The Palestinian Health Ministry said the dead included children and women from the same families, with more than 77 injured. Strikes hit Gaza City in the north and Khan Yunis in the south. Palestinian Civil Defense spokesperson Mahmoud Bassel said the occupation forces deliberately targeted civilians, violating human rights conventions. Moving on to a different matter now, Sahrawi Foreign Minister Mohammed Yeslam Baysat welcomed the strong international support for the Sahrawi cause following the UN Security Council resolution in late October. Speaking at the third International Solidarity Forum for Peace in Western Sahara in Samara, he praised participating delegations for amplifying the Sahrawi voice, calling the initiative a vital expression of solidarity against the colonial narrative.
This forum holds special importance as it stands as a space for culture, peace, solidarity and friendship among peoples. It represents the most meaningful voice and message in a time of great hardship for humanity, when the dominant narratives unfortunately are those of war, exclusion and one-sided solutions. What is most significant is that you have witnessed the remarkable international attention surrounding this meeting. For the past 30 years, the UN Security Council has convened every October or April to discuss the Sahrawi issue. This time, however, was different. The Council's meeting drew substantial interest from the international community, major world powers, public opinion, and the media.
The Sahrawi Foreign Minister says his country continues to demand the application of international law. He insists the Sahrawi people have an inalienable right to freedom and independence.
Peace must go hand in hand with law, with justice, and with legitimacy. The shortest path to peace in North Africa is to enable Sahrawi people to exercise their inalienable and non-negotiable right to self-determination, freedom, and independence.
Sahrawi Minister of Culture Musa Salma said Wednesday that the Sahrawi cause belongs to all who support sovereignty, peace and freedom. Speaking at the third International Solidarity Forum for Peace in Samara, he highlighted culture as a means of resistance and dialogue, noting that growing global support opens opportunities for cultural cooperation to amplify the Sahrawi call for freedom and independence.
Your presence today, coming from different cultures and continents, carries a profound humanitarian message. It is a noble act that reflects your commitment to the principles of solidarity and your rejection of policies of injustice and marginalization. It reinforces the conviction that the Sahrawi cause is not solely a Sahrawi issue, but a fundamentally humanitarian and political one. Defending the right of peoples to self-determination is, in essence, defending universal human values. This forum reaffirms that culture is an act of resistance, a bridge for dialogue, and a means to promote the values of peace and coexistence among peoples.
To the war in Sudan now. The Sudanese army said it has regained full control of key areas in North Kordofan. Army sources told All 24 News Channel that army forces backed by allied units fought the rapid support forces to retake Abu Qud and Jabal Abu Sunun, inflicting heavy losses in personnel and equipment. The Sudanese army said it has made gains on several fronts in the west, vowing to defeat the RSF and counter foreign conspiracies. As Sadiq Hamis Ibrahim, Secretary General of the Sudan Liberation Army Movement, told All 24 News that these advances reflect carefully planned military operations by the Sudanese armed forces. Moving on to a different note, Reuters reported Wednesday that Washington has told Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky to consider a U.S.-drafted framework to end the war with Russia, which includes ceding some territory and weapons. Sources said the proposals also called for reducing the size of Ukraine's armed forces, with the U.S. seeking Kiev's agreement on the framework's key points. The Sheraton Hotel in Algiers hosted the Media Star 2025 Awards on Tuesday, organized by Ooredoo Algeria. The Minister of Culture and Arts, along with officials and media and tech figures, attended. Winners were honored in this year's competition themed Digital Transformation in Algeria in the Age of Artificial Intelligence, Challenges, Stakes and Prospects. Leading media and tech experts took part, as well as representatives from various institutions across different sectors, which reflects the event's role in promoting innovation in digital media.
Algeria is undergoing a phase of digitizing the sectors as part of the National Digital Transformation Strategy. No initiative or activity can succeed without media support, which simplifies matters for citizens and alerts officials to obstacles. This is why Ooredoo has been working for years to raise awareness, train, and encourage journalists to become proficient in this field.
Mobilis has launched a new generation of revolution offers, giving customers greater freedom and control over their mobile services. The updated packages allow users to manage balances easily, reward loyalty, and enjoy more flexible, innovative services tailored to today's digital lifestyle.
Mobilis decided this year to celebrate the Revolution of November in a special and distinctive way. Mobilis launched a new system of offers named Revolution in commemoration of this anniversary.
And that's the end of our news program for tonight. Thank you for tuning in. Have a great night.